All right, hello folks, everything new under the sun. I apologize, I've not had a video up. I've been very, very busy with just a lot of things going on that I had to take care of, and time runs out at the end of the day. But as always, there's a lot of things going on. And I want to talk about the 200 million man standing army that I believe China is directly related to in the last days, and that's in the book of Revelation. But first, as it exists in the world, what's going on with the left and the right, the conservative and the liberal sides, if you will. This is from rarefoundation.com. French conservative news heavily fined after guests state immigration kills and global warming is a scam. Now, hopefully YouTube doesn't take down the video for me reading that. It's a news article. I'm just reporting the news. But this is what's coming out. They are now fining people in France real money. The channel was fined 80,000 euros for failing to meet its obligations during a broadcast, which I assume is to limit quote unquote misinformation. This is what Trudeau in Canada wants to do, by the way. They want to basically get people in trouble if they don't provide, the truth as at least as they see it. If they don't toe the narrative, they want to fine them. They want to put them out of business, and they're trying to do that in many ways. They're trying to control it. The government wants to be the source of truth, and they're now going after these companies in France who say some, and you may not even agree with what some of these ideas, but that's called free speech. When you start saying, you can't say this, you can't say that, what sort of world are we going to live in when and who makes the decisions about what you can and can't say? And quickly, it's going to be you can't say anything about the Word of God in public. You can't speak a verse out loud, just like just like in Islamic states, where there's just a lot of rules on what you can and can't do, and you don't have freedoms to do things. And certainly, if you go to Saudi Arabia and try and start, street preaching, and many other countries, they may come at you with sticks or worse. So there's places you can't do that, and that is a lack of freedom. And in the last days, the Antichrist is going to have full control of the media. This is Rare Foundation also. Germany strips conservatives gun rights. So there's this party, the AFD, who is coming against the current government, a political group, and the government is trying to strip them of the ability to own firearms. And because apparently they're a risk to society because of what this particular party believes. They're going directly after their political opponents, basically. It's a scare tactic, it's a fear tactic. But how many of you will cave? And, I think it's more than we think. Will cave when your life is at risk, your family, your lifestyle is at risk, your house is at risk, your income is at risk. How many of you would cave, and how many of you indeed did cave to COVID because your job was at risk? I was seriously thinking about caving during that period because my job might very well have been at risk. And, I don't blame those people who had to make that decision. Some people did. And it's a scary place to be in, I'll be absolutely honest. But that was only the beginning. That sort of life, that sort of choice. If you want to speak the truth, if you want to go against the orders of the government, you're going to have to pay, right? This is zerohedge.com. China unveils military drills with Russia. And of course, we knew this was happening. We know China and Russia are working hand in hand. But now they're coming out, more obviously and working together doing drills as NATO members have been doing lots of drills. Up in Alaska, Germany was up there, and up north of UK, Britain. They've been doing lots of NATO drills in and around there. So now we see China really getting into the mix and joining forces with Russia. Now, do we know about Russia in the last days? Well, there's this idea of in Revelation, well, Revelation chapter 6 is referring to the force of the apocalypse. That's what's referenced there, and the white horse going forth to conquer and to forth conquering and to conquer. But in I think it's Revelation 9. Yeah, here it is. The 200 million man army is referenced in Revelation chapter 9. There it is there, so you can see it. And it speaks of this group coming from the north, 200 million foot soldiers. But this apparently comes at a time during the trumpet judgments and bowl judgments. And this is right into the wrath of God. So this is the second half of the 7-year period after the abomination of desolation, I believe. And so the question is, I believe there's an error in the 200 million man answer. Revelation 6:2 says, and I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given him to go forth conquering and to conquer. This is when the Antichrist is revealed, he says. Not all nations will agree to this authority and will bring the next 3 judgments. And this is where I disagree with this person. The Antichrist isn't revealed there. I believe the Antichrist is revealed at the abomination of desolation. And that's exactly what the person who created this answer said. This is from gracethroughtruth.com, by the way. The answer is the man on the white horse is the one who will become the Antichrist once Satan indwells him. He comes on the scene as a peacemaker and a world leader. But comparing Matthew 24:15 and 2 Thessalonians 2:4, you can see his revelation as an Antichrist comes at the time of abomination of desolation. This is what begins the Great Tribulation. Now that distinction is what I agree with. The Great Tribulation is when God's wrath falls upon the world. And during that wrath, again, during the trumpet and bowls, that's when we read about the 200 million man army. Now, China has enough. They have about 1 billion people, I believe it is. I don't know exactly what the population is, but they supposedly have enough to put together a 200 million man army if they wanted to, if they needed to. And that apparently comes during the Great Tribulation, or the wrath of God on the world. That the tribulation, the first 3.5 years, is detailed in Revelation chapter 6, the beginning of it. Verse 1 through 12, where it speaks of the horseman of the apocalypse, and that's the wrath of man on man, if you will, and what we deserve from the leaders we put in place and what we've caused, and so we're getting what we deserve. But then the abomination of desolation, this is a revealing of the Antichrist. This is what kicks off the Great Tribulation, which then goes through and then includes in that period the 200 million man army. So China is a big player in the last days, and you can read again Revelation chapter 9 to read about that. But we know they're strong. We know they have certainly lots of people. And do they have lots of people right now? They absolutely do. And could they field a 200 million man standing army? If they really want to, they could send that many people to the whatever front line. So I thought that was an interesting a parallel to Bible prophecy as we see them rising, becoming more courageous and bold, and getting out there and doing war games with Russia. This is a report from War News 247. Hundreds of dead French soldiers in Ukraine. Paris has not seen such casualties since the war in Algeria. This is the idea of NATO getting involved in Ukraine, which ultimately at some point, just like the day that the light switch flipped on Biden, Biden's awesome. Now he has dementia. The switch is going to flip on the war in Ukraine. There's no World War III. We are in World War III against Russia now, and Russia and China are the boogeymen, and we need to hate them and go to war against them. That switch is going to flip again, just like Biden and the dementia, at a time we don't know when, but it's very likely to come before the election of Trump, because Trump wants to stop the war, and he's suggested that he will stop it even before he gets into power. So we'll see how that plays out. So that's the news as I see it as it relates to Bible prophecy. So thanks for watching. I'll leave it there. We'll see you in the next video.